Yeah. Title of my talk arrived this morning before I started teaching. And so I wrote it down. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read it to you, but it's, I think, essential. Um, Spiritual awakening is not a manufactured state. You cannot make it happen. It wants to happen. You just need to get out of the way. Um, I think that's really important. So much of our mindful intention, especially in the spiritual realm, is to reconstruct ourselves in some way to make us more uh, available to the awakening process for whatever reason we have. Mostly it's to get more comfortable in our skins and our psyches, to find ourselves more available to life in a way. But the extraordinary thing is how present tense the awakening is and how diverted we are from it, how much we are caught up in the day to day material experience of living. And we want to do the various things you have to do to find yourself open to the larger presence. But the truth is, you're never not available to it. And it's never not available to you, ever. If anything, its whole purpose is to make itself known to you every day, all day long. But we are so caught up in and programmed in the day to day life of doing and achieving and making and finding our way through the unknowable construct of human experience that we don't allow the experience itself to announce itself as what it is, which is, if you will, truth itself, expressing itself moment to moment in your existence. I hate that we have to limit it to words like truth or being or source or radiance or all of those things, but that's what we need at this moment in our existence. But the incredible lesson that is forming at this point in the space that I inhabit, this experience of being done, the experience of being, and the experience of not doing, not trying to do, is extraordinarily instructive. And the problem for most of us is we want to hear, okay, now what? What do I do? How do I get there? What's the mechanism for all of this? And and we want to get it in a cognitive way so we can work it and play it. But not doing and allowing yourself to simply be is is the path. And it's actually happening every moment. You are being every moment. But there is this mindful quality that is trying to manipulate it and use it for the purpose of your mind, body, self to find the road toward success and acceptance and love and comfort and awakening, all of these things, when in fact it's all there. It's already there. And the fact is that you're trying to get there is the problem because there's nowhere to get. Now, every great teaching says this, but they all provide pathways, which are cognitive pathways of doing and sitting and trying and whatever it is you think you're supposed to be doing to arrive at where you are. And the great teachings even say this to you, but it doesn't stop us because we're such cognitive beings from trying to feel and think our way into enlightenment and awakening for a reason and a purpose that has to do with defining the separate self, the part that wants to be comfortable and, employed and enjoying the life around it. And it's so involved in the process that you get in the way of the one thing that's actually occurring, which is this phenomenal reality and being, which is expressing itself in every breath that you take. It's just there. It is there. One of Rudy's great words for the teaching of this process for getting there or for realizing that you are there is surrender. It's a great word. And he even goes as far as asking for help to surrender. The problem being that the person asking is looking for an advantage, looking for something to arrive through the surrender, where the reality is the surrender is to realize, if you will, and many teachings talk about the word realization, that this is the very thing itself. Part of my infantile experience of moving into the realm of simply being and not doing is that, if you will, the dawning of how extraordinary being is and how it takes care of the whole. It just is doing that. Now, it's not operating for your sense of individual comfort, let's say, but it is operating not only for you, but through you. It is creating itself via the mechanism that it has manifested in the universe, which is beings, not doings, beings. And we are beings. We happen to be called human beings, which is a really interesting evolutionary space where we start to be, but forget that being is not just doing. Being is present tense awareness. That's what we are. We are the awareness. Again, the words are problematic because you're going to contemplate them and construct them into like, oh, I get it. That's not the idea. Being is what is. It's what is. Doing functions in that. And so we go into the Zen idea of chop wood, carry water. So once one has awakened to truth and reality and being, what do? You chop wood and carry water, which is something that's not a cognitive thing. It's just putting food on the table, lighting the fire, bringing water to people who need to drink. And it's that simple. It's that simple. It's the day-to-day thing. And what I have discovered, as probably all of us have, is you get hungry, and so you find food. You get thirsty, you have something to quench your thirst if you're lucky. You get tired and you lie down. The interesting thing about chopping wood and carrying water is, what do you do when you're done chopping wood and carrying water? They don't talk about that as much, but there's nothing to be done at that point. It's just be. How do you just be? Well, let me suggest something that I'm finding to be kind of wonderful, but of course it is part of the retired psyche. I just sit down. I just sit down. Okay. And I go sit on my back porch, or I sit in a chair here and I just be. And it's not trying to get somewhere. It's not trying to achieve fame and success and make money. Because I don't, I've passed that phase. Many of you are still in that phase. So you can't just sit and be, although you can for periods of time. Part of your being is your chop wood, carry water, is to make money and pay the bills and take care of the life around you. But the fact is, just being, which you can do even at your desk and even at your computer, if you just stop for a bit, it's very renewing. It's very vibrant. It's very alive. It's very filling. And there's nothing to do. You just are. And it's surprising how uplifting and how fulfilling the are-ness is, or the beingness of your moment to moment existence. This is not something to get to. And again, that's the problem. And all of you trying to sit here in a meditative space or listening to these talks are trying to figure it out. How do I how do I manage my way into being? And of course, again, the answer is, I'll use Rudy's word, surrender, or just open your eyes. Open your eyes. If you have to ask for help, and it's not a bad idea because spiritual work is asking for help to do the very thing that is already happening, which is to recognize the surrender is part of the being. You have to surrender. When the light turns red as you're driving down the street, you can go, "Oh," or you can go, red light, green light, and go forward. That is a difference. How do you respond to the life that's unfolding around you? Does crappy stuff happen? Absolutely. Is it programmed into the equation? Absolutely. How do you react to it? Your choice. You can really go, why me? Or you can just go, this is the unfolding of the reality of existence. And right now, of course, the reality of existence is unfolding in ways that a lot of us would like to go, no, 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 not that way, not that way. But trust me, this is the way it's been from the beginning of time. Stuff unfolds you don't like. Stuff unfolds. It is not the path you would want to take. But who is reacting and how are you reacting and what do you do? Well, try to sit still and be. Just be. I forgot to add into the equation, take a nap. If you have an opportunity to take a nap, which luckily I do at this point, wow, what a great thing. What a great thing. And if you're taking a nap or you're just sitting quietly and being, something may happen, like you have to go to the bathroom. Okay, you get up, you get up, you start to move again, you start to function. And there's always something I'm finding in every day of and every minute of my life that's there to be, if you will, addressed. There's always something to be picked off the floor or picked up and thrown away. There's always something that's part of the equation that needs or wants to be done in your life. And so you just do it. But what I'm trying to really get at is to move us away from this spiritual task of trying to arrive at the very thing we already are. Surrender, surrender. Ask for help to surrender. Let go. If you come to a class like this, the thing that happens, and it is really kind of amazing, and it really happens throughout life, but most of us don't see it. This is a concentrated form of sitting in the presence of presence, sitting in the presence of being. And what happens when you're in the presence of being and you sit very quietly and you maybe ask for help to surrender, but you don't even often have to do that. You just sit there, and the thing that you discover about the core of being itself, and I've said this many times, but boy, it's important. It loves you. It loves you. Being loves you. It made you because it loves you. Now, yes, it's going to cause discomforts and struggles in life itself. And yes, the unfolding of the world has positive and negative pain and pleasure. It has all of those things. But as you start to enter into being, you just feel at the core, and this is really extraordinary to me, this arising of love. It's not sought after, it's not cajoled, it's just there. You are you are loved. You are loved. I cannot even begin to describe to you the dimensionality of that love, but it just comes up. And you don't have to try to love someone, it loves them for you. It loves the people around you for you. It just is doing it all the time. It loves you. It truly loves you. And I know I think I talked about this a lot last week. And it's hard to imagine when you're sitting around feeling yuck, life is so awful and all these things are happening. And you look at the paper and you go, no, I don't want to do that. And you watch the news and go, I shouldn't be doing that. And all of these things are happening and the dynamics of day-to-day life are unfolding. Where's the love? Where is this incredible embrace? It's right there. It's really right there. So you may have to turn off the news. You may have to close the newspaper or close your computer and just sit for a moment and be quiet and maybe even ask for help to let go, to surrender, and just see what happens. And there's this quiet little thing that can start to arise inside you, and it goes, oh, just welcomes you. And then it starts to function all day long to love everything around it. And in my infantile awareness of being, because this is just teaching me now dramatically and every day in its own way, this being is all present. It is always there. And it is amazing how we as individuals separate ourselves from it, try to manipulate it, try to play our games in the world, and not find what's going on now, right this moment. Now, there are times you're going to sit down and you're going to feel sad or depressed or anxious or whatever it is. Let me just say, don't fight that. You don't have to change the equation. You just have to go, hey, it's part of the whole. It's part of the universal whole. And I use the word whole, WHOLE. It's the totality. And you try to find in the simplistic way that you do a kind of, wow, that's all it is. That's all it takes. And, I get these printouts in the morning from various spiritual teachers. The, what to do to have your spiritual life, the things to do and how to do it, and tricks of meditating and all of these kinds of things. And even people who charge you, I don't know how much money to get how to do all this, and come to join my specialty and all that. And I go, okay, but you don't have to pay a penny. It's always available. It is yours for the asking, and you don't even have to ask. It's just there. And part of the experience of being done and just being is the amazement at how much it is there, how much love, joy, beauty, awareness, gratitude is just flooding the system if you let it. And flooding not in a bad way, a rising of its own nature. And I can tell you this 5,000 times, and I probably, if you know me, can and will do that. But I'm going to try to make it simple. Stop listening to me. Stop listening to any teacher. Stop the process of trying to get to this unbelievable state and open your eyes. Just open your eyes. Take a breath. Look around you. Feel quietly. Try to get done with the idea of doing. Try to find yourself allowing being to be a little bit more present, or maybe a lot more present in your life. And everything you've ever been looking for will reveal itself to be right there. So I'm going to call this a short talk. And I don't know what more to say about it other than, I can, week by week, I guess, talk about the process of just being, but I don't know what really needs to be said. It's just reminding you and encouraging you and transmitting, if you will, some of what that feels like, because for some reason, this practice transmits being. It just transmits it. And if you're open and your eyes are open and you're asking for help to receive it, it will come. And then once it comes, you got to stop thinking it's coming from Bruce, because it's not, or Rudy, or anybody else. It's not coming from anybody else. It's you. It's the source of you. And it's all I can tell you. You don't have to go anywhere to get it. You don't have to even sign on to this class or anything else. Just there. But does it get hard sometimes? Yes. And that's the time of doing what they call the work and asking for help because you're forgetting or you're lost or you're caught in the dynamics of the human journey. Happens to everybody, everybody. But the reality is you are here to serve that energy, and it is here to serve you, and it's going to serve everybody in the world through you. Whatever you can do to allow it to manifest, you will feel of service and you will feel the joy of what it means to be a human being. Done. Uh, Questions, answers, criticisms, fears, worries.
Hey, Bruce, Mark.
Okay, hi, Mark.
Hey, Bruce. I do like that metaphor of chopping wood, carry water, and hear it often, right? In the Zen space and stuff. But I was just wondering if you could talk about the difference between doing chopping wood, carrying water, and being chopping wood and carrying water. Because I don't talk too much about that part of it. It feels like it's a doing, just do chop wood, carry water. But
It's
with
about
you talking, so I wanted to like have you talk about that.
it's about who initiates the process. uh, Doing from a human, it's like, I need to do this, I need to do that. The I identifying with the chopping wood and the carrying water. Oh my God, I got to go get chopped wood. Oh my God, I got to go get the water. All the drama that goes on in the life of the doing. The doer initiated by ego, mind, separate self is difficult. It's hard. It's work. It's just plain work. And it doesn't have a holy aspect, really. It's just get through, get by, make money, be famous, whatever the thing is that's driving you to work. The other side of that is the inner being, the survival of the inner psyche, the self, the true being, providing for itself and providing for others, is a directive that comes from something greater than ego mind. It comes from within in a deep and profound sense of just being. Of course, you have to get the water, and of course, you have to chop wood, or you will no longer be in the body and in the world, which, ultimately is the case. Ultimately, we will not be in the body and the world. And interestingly enough, I think if you have a deep enough connection to being, and the being in the world and chopping wood and carrying water is no longer possible, what you might find, and what I'm beginning to sense, is that being is still there even when the body and the mind and all that other stuff falls away. It's like, oh, wow. Who imagine all of that? But while you're in the body and you're in the mind, if you can allow the higher self, if you want to call it that, the reality, the being, the radiance of you, to provide for its very creation, which is you, by eating and sleeping and drinking water, if you can allow for it to do that, then you are serving it, or the larger picture, if you will, rather than the ego mind body construct that it operates mostly on fear and desire, getting comfort and pleasure and avoiding suffering. That's ego minded self. When you have the larger self, and this is amazing, that's not the directive. It's not trying to get anything. It's just serving the serving itself and serving the thing it created, which is you, and that it's continuing to create. You're not a past tense creation. You are manifested as an actual expression of the ultimate truth and beauty of being. That's what you are. Let that guide the chop wood, carry water, and not your ego-minded, oh my God, I got to get this done. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
Bruce, can I just say something? It's Janice.
Yeah, hi, Janice.
I have actually chopped wood at a Zen monastery, and everybody wants to chat. Everybody wants to talk as they're splitting the wood. And the Zen teacher and the nun came up and said, we do this silently. This is Samu. It's silent.
I
And
let me just say, yes, I think that's partly true, but I
but
also
I was just going to continue. What starts to happen is you start to see things brighter. The colors are brighter. You start to feel the energy around you, and it's almost like you feel this interconnectedness with all that there is, and it begins to talk back to you. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm totally on board with that. But I also want to take it 1 ounce, one millimeter further. It's okay to talk to others while you're chopping wood and carrying water. It might actually be kind of wonderful. So what I'm trying to do is get out of the rules in a way and letting it just be what it is. And if you can be with another person who's talking to you while you're chopping wood and it's nice, or even if it's not nice, it's part of the totality. It's part of truth. And you might be able to take a little breath inside and go, I can talk. I doesn't or not talk. I'm here. There's a level of acceptance that can be quite profound. And you put the rule book aside and you see what I'm going to use the word it. I don't like it, but radiance itself wants to be in any given moment. So if you're chopping wood, chop wood. If someone's talking to you, chop wood and talk. And if you're carrying the wood, carrying the wood. If you drop a piece and somebody picks it up for you, great. Or you pick it up for someone else, great. It's all part of this amazing kind of wholeness that we tend to separate into me and it. And the me and it is problematic. That's all I can tell you. And what starts to happen when you get done with doing is the being becomes holistic. It's complete. There you are. It is just happening. And there's nobody going, I wish it was different than this. I wish I could do it this way or not or that way. And it's not like that. And so I do think, the lessons that are going to arise in this journey are not going to come from me, and they didn't exactly come from Rudy or from Nityananda and all that. I mean, they do, of course. There's a kind of a lineage of aha or transmission, if you will, of simplicity. But the real journey is into your own aha. That's all it is, just aha. And when you arrive at that, and it's with enough clarity, you are an expression of the universe itself. You are that. You are that. And that's what we're saying, that we're trying to get there is crazy because we are already there. But to get that little glimmer of, wow. And I'm telling you, the little glimmer becomes something more than I've ever experienced before, ever. I cannot explain it. And it's not 100% of the time. It wafts and waves in its own way. But what happens is there is a amazement and a joy and a awareness and a love and a fullness that I haven't known in all the years of my spiritual life. And it's not because I'm doing anything. It's the opposite. I was limiting it from happening in my life. I didn't know that, but when I said done, it went, okay, here I am. And it's a really interesting moment. And I'm not telling you all to say I'm done just to get there because that's not going to work. But there will come a moment where you'll go, done. And it may be on your deathbed. I don't know. But it's nice if it happens earlier because, oh my God, what an amazing thing we're in. I mean, look, you hear me talk every week, but this is, I don't understand any of it, but we are really lucky and blessed to be here in this now. All I can tell you, if you find that to be the case, you will go thank you. And not to me or anybody, you will go thank you, period. Big thank you.
Bruce,
Yes.
Dale, I thought I was handling this process of aging fairly gracefully, but this past week I've been so troubled because I don't know if it's the beer or the doer in me that is resenting pressures from within and from family to stop driving. I used to be invited to go out to my granddaughter's beach. She's the main one that doesn't want me driving anymore, so I don't get there. So I think, well, I'll just go myself. I know there's lots of beaches around here. And then somebody tells me that their granddaughter was killed in in a crosswalk by a 90-year-old driver. And I think, oh God, I better not drive.
Well, let me
I,
talk about that for 1 second. I mean, you may not be completely done with it, but let me just say this experience that I'm having with the word I'm done is a evolving reality. And I think driving will come into that sooner than later. And it's complicated where I am because I'm not in walking distance of anything. So when I'm done with driving, and that's going to happen, I have to live a much more insular life than I've ever lived. One of the things that's occurring for me right now is what a beautiful island I live on. So I can live in this space and I will have to have people come and do things. And life changes as a result of aging. And the I'm done phrase comes up more and more and more as we go forward. It really does. And I understand exactly what you're saying, and I understand the frustration. But part of what I felt when I said I'm done is I have to be prepared to be done and just be. And one of the things about you, whether you're on a beach or not a beach, just sitting in your house, just being on the screen here, Dale, you radiate everything that we're talking about in this class. Whether you get to play it out in the bigger world or whether or not you just do it in your home and people come to you, you have so many people in your life. Your being will be the gift. And whether it goes to others or just to the self or to the being that is radiating, it's enough. And that's kind of the lesson that I'm getting. But it does involve being done. And I had a third doctor this week. This is the third in a series of things, and I talked about them a lot. Who said, "I can't do anything for you. Nothing I can do." And it's like, but what am I going to do? He says, "No, I can't help you." And it's like, it's just there is a certain thing that happens in the human equation where you can no longer be helped, altered, or fixed. You are done with that part of your life. It does come unpleasantly when you have to limit the kinds of activities and behaviors you always wanted to have, but you have to go like that. And that's when I say, just sit down, watch the birds.
so,
Yes.
so yeah, I do that.
Mhm.
I'm I'm very thankful to be surrounded by these trees, and it feels like I'm home. But I don't know. There's a battle between the beer and the doer in me.
Right, right.
It's for around this driving thing.
Well, welcome to a big club. I mean, it's a battle in all of our lives between the beer and the doer, and it goes on your whole life. And finally, there comes a point, and everybody, I mean, you're 10 years older than I am, and you have done a brilliant job at all this. My doneness came earlier, but I'm telling you, it has proven to be surprisingly um, embracing. And so I'm not telling you to stop driving. I'm just telling you, you may want to pay attention.
Mm.
There's changes occur in our lives and they're big, and we have to alter who and what we are in the ego outside manifested self, but the inside self can be and will be, I suspect, flooded with the love of just being Dale.
So the resentment, that's what do I need to do the work around that?
That's, I can only tell you the answer is probably yes.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
can't,
no,
I
resentment.
can't just let it go because it doesn't go.
Right. No, it's a big recognition that it's called finality, it's called impermanence. At some point, yes, we're going to let go of everything we loved, did, cared about, that was important to us. We're going to have to let it go. When does that happen? We each have different moments. I happen to be a little earlier in the game than some of my friends, let's say, but I'm recognizing it for what it is, and it's going to happen to every person here at some moment in time. Either you go, I'm done, or you don't. And if you fight it, you can fight it into the Jacob's ladder realm of, the last instances of your life that go on for years and decades or eternities. But the idea is basically to go, okay, done, done.
Thank you.
Bruce,
Yes.
um, one thing that just comes to me to say in a lighthearted manner is that self-driving cars are like a minute away. and like be done with driving, but doesn't mean you have to be done going to the beach. So I just wanted to remind everyone about self-driving.
That's really an interesting statement. And and I've said this before, my therapist, who I continue to talk to after I don't know how many, 30, 40 years, she keeps saying, and I said it, I think, here before, be prepared to be surprised. I mean, we don't have self-driving cars here. Can't even get Uber. You call Uber and they never show up, so you don't have that availability. But yes, life is going to change and make it easier on a lot of levels, but being done is still going to be being done. And it doesn't have to be end of life. It can be somewhere much earlier than that, where you're just done driving the show, being the driver. You can be picked up and taken. You can be helped along the way, and you can sit still and just find sitting still, taking a nap, whatever it is you do, joyful, surprisingly joyful. Is it going to be that every minute? Maybe not. Are there lessons to be learned from that? Yes, and hopefully we'll learn them. But I can only tell you again from the infancy of being, boy, it's amazing. Anybody?
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, I think everybody go home. Go home. Go get some lunch. Whatever you're going to do. I love you all for being here. We'll try this again next week. And if you're tired of hearing what I have to say, don't listen to me. It's very available. Love you all.